going to introduce Brother Rashawn and Brother Kalabi Israel. Take it away, brother.
Shalom. This is Brother Rashawn, and Brother Kalabe is here too.
Shalom. This is Brother Kalabe.
All right. We're gonna pray. We're gonna pray into it, and then we're gonna move on into the study. Tonight's topic is going to be the fallen kingdom. We're going to be studying on the fall of Israel. If you would like to cover your heads at this time, I'll give you a minute to do that. Can everyone hear me clearly?
Coming in clearly.
All right. Just making sure. I like to hear, some feedback some of the time, make sure I'm getting clear to everyone. Let's pray. Thank you, Ahaya. Thank you and praise you, for you are great and worthy to be praised. There is no other Elohim on this earth that is like you. You are strong and powerful and rich in mercy. Your grace is everlasting on your people, Yasharallah, and I thank you that you have awakened us through your great love for us, and I have not thrown us off completely. Praise you, Most High, for everything in this earth is your doing, and you created the whole earth for your people, Yasharallah, and you have once again picked us up off of our fallen grounds, and you have raised us up once again so that we can rise as your battle axe, as your strong weapon against the nations. I thank you, Most High, for you are great and merciful. I ask that you speak through me for this call so that they will not hear me, but they will hear your voice, Most High. I ask that you make this open up some hearts and minds to understand the truth of our fall, and how this will allow us to understand how we can once again rise to be the nation in which you have chosen. In your great and powerful name, Ahaya, I pray. And your son, Yeshaya. Yamen. Yamen. If you would like to, you can unmute your phones. I might be asking a question or two throughout the call. Brother Doe, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, brother.
All right. First, we're going to go into the subject matter of who these people are exactly we're talking about. Because in order to understand why it matters so much we fell, first you have to understand who these people are that fell. So we're going to go into a quick identification of Israel. All right, then. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 68. I'm sorry, Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 10. And we're going to read that to see why we fell before we discuss who these people are. Jeremiah 50 is going to tell us why did we fall in the first place. Deuteronomy 28 and 15.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, and to observe all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So we disobeyed the commandments in which this verse is talking about. We disobeyed these commandments, therefore we fell. But that's only one point of this. Why exactly did we fall? How did we fall into this sin that created our fall in which we see today? But for that, we did say that we were going to see who these people are. So let's go to Deuteronomy 28 and 68 to see the curses behind this failure to obey the commandments. Deuteronomy 28, verse 68. Read that.
And Ahiah shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee. Thou shalt see it no more again. And there ye shall be sold into your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you.
He said we would be sold into all the nations with ships. The only people that can match this curse is the African American. Now, this is only one aspect because the African American is only the tribe of Judah. Because Genesis 49, verse 8 says that we would be at the neck of our enemy. That's why we know that we're Judah, because we were enslaved to the very ones that were destroying our people. We're at the head of the powers. So we're going to go to Deuteronomy 28, verse 16, to see what we would be doing in the land of our enemies, at the head of our enemies. Deuteronomy 28, verse 16. 16. Read.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field.
He's saying, cursed shall you be in the city, and cursed shall you be in the field. When we got to America, we were the ones working in the cotton fields. We were the ones working inside the cornfields, and we were the ones building the master's houses. We were always, when we came here, forced to do slave labor inside of agriculture or inside of building their houses. And the curse of the city is that we would not prosper in the city as well. Protests. We can't even do a protest without 500 cops coming for one man. That's a little bit of an exaggeration, but still, the point stands that we are cursed both in the field and in the city. But this is only Judah, Levi, and Benjamin. The curse of Ephraim, the kingdom of Ephraim, the other 9 tribes, started with Deuteronomy 22. Deuteronomy 28 and 22. 28 verse 22, read that.
And Ahiah shall smite thee with a consumption, and with a fever, and with an inflammation, and with an extreme burning, and with the sword, and with blasting, and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou art perished.
The disease in which he just read was burning and consumption. This disease is equivalent to the smallpox in which the Europeans brought over on their ships. The sword was 100 million of our people being slaughtered, while the Europeans say that they did nothing wrong. Deuteronomy 28 verse 33 reads the other curse in which Ephraim inherited. There's many curses inside of this one chapter, but these are the ones that really point out the people. This is the kingdom of Ephraim we're speaking of. Read.
The fruit of thy land and all thy labors shall a nation which thou knowest not eat up.
He says the fruit of thy land and the fruit of thy labor, a nation in which you do not know shall eat. They're the ones suffering inside of, what did they call them, Kip? Reservations. They put them in reservations while they consume all the resources of this land, this great land, in which used to belong to Gad, the Native American. Also, South America, they're making money off of the natives there through tourism, in which they don't make any money either. All they have is the ghettos to cling to. And when this system collapses, they'll rise to power. But this is the curses that they've inherited for now. We're going to finish reading this verse. Read.
And thou shalt be oppressed and crushed always.
You shall be oppressed and crushed always. Even inside the reservations in which, not even the reservations, the casinos, they say that the Native Americans own. They don't even control a large power there. You got the Caucasian placed up there buying positions as chiefs and swallowing whole the income of these Native Americans, saying that the Native Americans are making tons of money. In actuality, most of them are not. Most of them are suffering just as bad and worse than Judah. So what happened to make us suffer these curses? First of all, we wanted to conform to the world. We wanted to be like the other nations. And Paul said, do not be conformed to this world. And we're going to get that verse. Go to Romans 12:2. All right. Read that.
And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what that is good and acceptable and perfect will of the high.
He's saying, don't be conformed unto this world. Well, in what way were we conformed unto this world? How did Israel conform to this world? First of all, in the beginning, Israel came out of the nations in the time of the Egyptians. We came out of the nations, and the Most High brought us out with a strong arm. He removed us from the land of the Egyptians, freeing us. And there we complained about even being a free nation now. We complain against the Most High about what we used to have in Egypt and how we were going to die inside of the desert. We were so afraid that we were going to die inside the desert after seeing so many miracles from the Most High. And you can still see it today. I mean, we go and we get something grand. We get a great blessing and we forget it in a matter of minutes sometimes. Let's go to Exodus 16, the 16th chapter. 16:1. Read that. 16:1.
And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came into the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the second month after their departure out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, would to Ahiah we have died by the hand of Ahiah in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full? For ye have brought us forth unto this wilderness to kill this whole assembly with hunger.
First, inside of Egypt, we complained about we want to be free from this bondage in which we see, this bondage in which we were in. And then when we come out, we complain about, now you brought us out, we don't get anything of which we had inside of the land of Egypt. The same thing, it's almost every time after we get something good, we complain and we want something different. So Moses inquired of the Most High, and the Most High told Moses to go and give the children of Israel manna. So let's go to Deuteronomy 16:6. 16:6. 16 verse 6 of Exodus. Exodus 16 verse 6. Read.
And Moses and Aaron said unto the children of Israel, At evening ye shall know that Ahiah hath brought you out from the land of Egypt. In the morning ye shall see the glory of Ahiah, that he heareth your murmurings against Ahiah. And what are we, that ye murmur against us? And Moses said, This shall be, when Ahiah shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and the morning bread to the full. For that the high heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the high.
He says, your murmurings are not against us, but against the Most High. We got out of Israel after so much suffering, and we cried under the burden of the Egyptians. We got from under their burden. He takes us into the desert with a great amount of miracles. He did this. We come out and we complain about not having food. I can understand you're hungry, but why complain about it? You can come over to Moses. Hey, Moses, you think you can, provide a little bread? We're just a little hungry, I mean, or hey, Moses, you can ask the Most High to give us some bread. We're hungry. Instead, they decided to murmur and complain, even behind his back, talking behind his back and stuff like that. And what they didn't understand was they weren't talking about Moses. They were talking about the Most High. So the Most High ended up giving them manna. They got the manna, and after they got the manna, they complained because they wanted meat. So this is the endless cycle of back and forth wanting, complaining against the Most High when He has already done so much for us. We've seen His miracles. He's shown His hand. He's shown us His great power, and we come back and we complain about the next thing that we want on our agenda. So this is us being complaining against the Most High. But how did we go down? How did this lead us down a spiral in which we can in which we could be taken down by the nations? Because in Jasher, we displayed our might against the nations. Go to Jasher chapter 64. We displayed our might against the nations. And if you read this book, Jasher is talked about in Joshua. It's talked about in Joshua and in Samuel, in which you can find references on this book. The first reference is Joshua chapter 10, verse 13, and the second reference is 2 Samuel chapter 1, verse 18. And these are some references you can use for the book. We're not going to read them today because we're trying to get through this lesson. So Jasher chapter 64, go to verse 20. Read that. Go ahead.
And the men of Egypt sent also to the children of Israel who were in those days in the land of Goshen.
Oh, okay then. Go up to 16. 15. Read from 15. Go ahead, read that.
And Zepho sent all the children of the east, and sent to all the children of the east, and to all the children of Ishmael with words like unto these. And they gathered themselves and came to the assistance of Zepho and the children of Chittim in the war upon Egypt.
Zepho, that's another lesson in itself. But Zepho was a captive of Joseph and his brothers when they went to war against Edom. The sons of Esau went to war against Egypt during the time when Joseph and his brothers were alive. Later on, Zepho was taken captive and was brought to Egypt, and he escaped that captivity and became a king inside of what we know today as Europe. And Zepho was always wanting to get revenge back on our forefathers who were in Egypt. So now he's gathering himself an army to fight against our forefathers. After the 12 sons of Jacob have died, this is his grandsons and great-grandsons. So read that. Read from 16.
And all these kings, the king of Edom and the children of the east, and all the children of Ishmael, and Zepho, the king of Chittim, went forth and arrayed all their hosts in Hebron. And the camp was very heavy, extending in length a distance of 3 days' journey, a people numerous as the sand upon the seashore, which cannot be counted. And all these kings and their hosts went down and came against all Egypt in battle, and encamped together in the valley of Pathros.
It says that this was an army that was so uncountable that they numbered it to the sands of the seashore. They said, you know what, you might as well try to go and count sand trying to count this army. All right, then read.
And Egypt heard their report, and they also gathered themselves together, and all the people of the land of Egypt, and of all the 3 cities belonging to Egypt, about 300,000 men. And the men of Egypt sent also to the children of Israel, who were in those days in the land of Goshen, and to come to them in order to go and fight with these kings. And the men of Israel assembled, and were about 150 men. And they went to battle to assist the Egyptians. And the men of Israel and of Egypt went forth, about 300,000 men and 150 men.
So the company of Egypt was 300,000. If 300,000 was countable in those days, who knows, how many are inside this uncountable army? So the Egyptians call on Israel, which is only a 150-man army. Let's move down to, let's read to chapter, wherever you stop. Let's just read from there. Read on.
And they went towards these kings to battle, and they placed themselves without the land of Goshen, opposite Pathros. And the Egyptians believed not in Israel to go with them in their camps together for battle. For all the Egyptians said, perhaps the children of Israel will deliver us into the hands of the children of Esau and Ishmael, for they are brethren. And all the Egyptians said to the children of Israel, remain you here together in your stand, and we will go and fight against the children of Esau and Ishmael. And if these kings should prevail over us, then come all you together upon them and assist us. And the children of Israel did so.
So the Egyptians are calling on the children of Israel for backup. They said, we're not going to completely trust you because some of these armies are your brethren. You might turn us over to them. But they said, if you see us falling in battle, then come and assist us quickly. Let's skip down to the battle.
That's my nickel. I had one in my pocket.
And Zepho and his dad put their forces in battle array, and all the Egyptians went alone against them, about 300,000 men. Not one man of Israel was with them. And the Egyptians fought with these kings out opposite Pathros and Carpenthes, and the battle was severe against the Egyptians. And the kings were stronger than the Egyptians in that battle. And about 180 men of Egypt fell on that day. And about 30 men of the forces of the kings. And all men of Egypt fled from before the kings. So the children of Esau and Ishmael pursued the Egyptians, continuing to smite them unto the place where there was the camp of the children of Israel.
So right now the Egyptians are falling to this great force of this uncountable number. And they've run all the way to the camp of the Israelites. So let's see what the Egyptians do next while they come near to the camp of the Israelites. Read.
And the Egyptians cried unto the children of Israel, saying, hasten to us and assist us, and save us from the hand of Esau, Ishmael, and the children of Chittim. And 150 men of the children of Israel ran from their station to the camps of these kings. And the children of Israel cried out unto Ahiah of their power to deliver them. And Ahiah hearkened unto Israel. And Ahiah gave all the men of the kings unto their hand. And the children of Israel fought against these kings. And the children of Israel smote about 4,000 of the king's men. And Ahiah drew a great consternation in the camp of the kings, so that the fear of the children of Israel fell upon them. And all the hosts of these kings fled from before the children of Israel. And the children of Israel pursued them, continuing to smite them unto the borders of the land of Cush.
So this is saying when the Egyptians went and said, come and help us and assist us, because we're being smitten by this army that is uncountable. And the Israelites came with only 150 men to this uncountable force, and it was slaying them all. Not one fell from the children of Israel. not a single man. This is the power of our nation if we continue to follow the Most High. How do we fall from this great power in which we could slay multitudes of men inside of battle without a single person dying? How do we fall from this great stature? Well, first, we have to understand the position of the Most High. Where does the Most High stand in this family of Israel? Where does he stand? Let's go to Isaiah 33, verse 22. We're going to see at what rank does the Most High stand inside of this nation of Israel. And we're also going to get Judges 8, 22, and 35. We're actually going to read Judges 8, 22, Isaiah 32 and 22 first. Okay. 32 and 22. Read that. 22. 33 and 22. 33 and 22. So just one page over. Read.
For Ahiah is our judge, and Ahiah is our lawgiver, and Ahiah is our king, and he will save us.
It says Ahiah is the king of Israel. Why is this an importance? Well, during the time of Gideon, which was another great conqueror under the power of the Most High, who also freed us from destruction of nations, our people asked for a king, knowing that the Most High was our king. So let's go to Gideon. Let's go to Judges, chapter 8, verse 22 and 35, to see what these people are asking for. Seeing that the Most High is our king, what are we truly asking for? Read.
And the men of Israel said unto Gideon, Rule thou over us, both thou and thy son, and thy son's son also, for thou hast delivered us from the hand of Midian.
First, they can't understand the spirituality that's going on here. This is where we started to lose our spiritual eye and started looking more at flesh. We said, for you have delivered us, Gideon. But in actuality, it was not Gideon who had delivered us, but it was the Most High. Let's read the next verse. What does Gideon say to them?
And Gideon said unto them, I would desire a request from you, that ye would give me every man the earrings of his prey.
Wait, you sure you're reading the right verse? We were on 22. 22 should be on 23. Okay, go ahead and read that.
Excuse me, people. And Gideon said unto them, I will not rule over you, neither shall my son rule over you. Ahiah shall rule over you.
Once again, someone still with a spiritual eye, Gideon, someone that can still understand the rank of the Most High in this kingdom, says, no, I'm not going to rule over you. The Most High is your king. Let's go to Samuel. One second. Go to Samuel. I can't read. Give us 1 second. All right. right then, Samuel. Let's go to 1 Samuel. Go ahead, 1 Samuel. This is another instance in which they ask for a king. They're asking for a king above the Most High. They're asking for a fleshly king. Let's go to Samuel chapter 8, verse 1.
And it came to pass when Samuel was old that he made his sons judges over Israel.
Keep reading.
Now the name of his firstborn was Joel.
Let's skip down to verse... Yeah, keep reading.
And the name of his second, Abiah. And they were judges in Beersheba. And his sons walked not in his ways, but turned aside after lucre, and took bribes, and perverted judgment. Then all the elders of Israel gathered themselves together, and came to Samuel at Ramah, and said unto him, Behold, thou art old, and thy sons walk not in thy ways. Now make us a king to judge us like all the nations. And the thing displeased Samuel, when they said, Give us a king to judge us. And Samuel prayed unto Ahiah. And Ahiah said unto Samuel, Hearken unto the voice of the people, and all that they say unto thee. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should reign over them.
So it says here that they once again are calling for a king. They want a king over the Most High, an earthly king, a fleshly king. He's not supernatural in any way. They want this king in which can do nothing as far as helping them to win battles, helping them to stay together as a nation, to destroy any nation that comes against them. This will not help them in any way. Jeremiah 17:5 says, Cursed is the man that trusts in man. We're not supposed to trust in man because man is faulty. And here we see that once again we trusted in man. And from here, Samuel is going to tell us what's going to happen from here, from trusting in man and wanting an earthly king above the king in which we already had. Keep reading.
According to all the works which they have done since the day I brought them up out of the land of Egypt unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me, and served other gods, so do they also unto me. Now therefore hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. And Samuel told all the words of Ahiah unto the people that asked him for a king. And they said, This will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you, sir. And he said,
Stop there. It says that Samuel is about to tell these people in what way will this king, this earthly king in which they want, in what way will this king rule over them? And Samuel is basically telling them it's not going to be as pleasant as the rule of the Most High. Read.
And he said, He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots, and to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. And he will appoint himself captains over thousands and captains over 50s, and will set them to ear his ground and to reap his harvest.
It says back then in the time of Israel, if you had sons, then that would be great for you, because when your sons got old enough, they could help you around with herding. Therefore, you would gain more cattle. They could help you with gardening. Therefore, you could produce more crop at a time. These sons would allow a family to grow into their own personal empire, their empire for their family. Now the king is going to take away your sons and make them to help build his vineyards, to be in his army, to make weapons for him. You're going to be losing your empire, your empire inside of your family, because your sons will be taken away for the various uses of the king. Sounds like slavery. Read.
And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, and to be cooks, and to be bakers. He will take your fields, and your vineyards, and your olive yards, even the best of them, and he will give them unto his servants.
He's going to take your daughters and basically make them concubines and chefs and various things to the detriment of not him but you. He's going to take away the best of the vineyards and say, hey, you could have that over there, that land. It's nice enough for a peasant. But for the king, I'm going to take your best. Instead of you just giving up your produce to the priests so that they can eat and drink for their daily needs, now you're going to have to pay taxes and give up your vineyards to the king. Read on.
And he will take the 10th of your seed and of your vineyards, and give it to his officers and his servants. And he will take your men servants and your maid servants and the goodliest young men and your donkeys, and put them to his work. And he will take the 10th of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. And ye shall cry out in that day because your king which ye shall have chosen you, and Ahiah will not hear you in that day. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, Nay, but we will have a king over us, that we may also be like all the nations, and that our king may judge us and go out before us and fight our battle.
They said, Nay, let us have a king so that we can be like who?
The other nations.
The other nations. They said, give us a king so that we can be like the other nations. Already we're the kings of the earth. Israel, the people in which the Most High has chosen. And we are looking down at the other nations. And we're saying, we want to be like them. We don't want this heavenly king in which, this spiritual king in which can help us in everything, grow our vineyards, and then we don't even have to be in servitude. With this king, we want this king in which it'll be just like the time in slavery. Let us have our king so we can be like the nations. Going back to the verse saying, do not be conformed to this world. So right now we're seeing what happened to make us fall. What happened to make us fall out of the good graces of the Most High. All right, let's go to Samuel. Let's go to the verse where it says that Solomon, the rule of Solomon after his father, Dawede. Should be in 1 Kings. So Solomon became the king after his father. And Solomon was a great king. And the Most High gave him wisdom. And this is a king. This is the earthly king in which they wanted in the first place. And during a certain time, his father followed after the Most High. He had his faults, but he followed after the Most High with all he could. Solomon also followed after the Most High until a certain point in which he fell in love with many women. Go to 1 Kings 11:1.
Please. But King Solomon loved many strange women, together with the daughter of Pharaoh, women of the Moabites, Ammonites, Edomites, Zidonians, and the Hittites. of the nations concerning which Ahijah said unto the children of Israel, Ye shall not go into them, neither shall ye come in unto you, neither shall they come in unto you. For surely they shall turn away your hearts after their gods. Solomon clave unto these in love. And he had 700 wives, princesses, and 300 concubines. And his wives turned away his heart.
It says that he had many wives because he fell in love with many women. And these women, in which the Most High told the king, told all of Israel not to marry, don't marry any of the Gentiles. He said not to marry them at that time, because at that time they were following the evil gods, which were just were just fallen angels, in which they had different versions of the fallen angels and Satan. The Most High said not to marry them, and Solomon married them, and therefore Solomon fell because of this. And with Solomon falling, the rest of the kingdom fell as well. All right, then. We're going to move on. From here, Solomon became so wicked in the sight of the Most High for these many wives that had him transgress the law of the Most High, that he turned the whole nation away from the Most High. Therefore, the Most High took the kingdom away from Solomon. Hold the phone real quick. Just 1 second. We're having technical difficulties. All right, then. Chapter 11 of Kings. Kev is going to be reading 11. Are you going to read that? 11.
Verse 11.
Chapter 11, verse 11. Say it again.
Chapter 11, verse 11. First Kings.
Read.
Wherefore Ahijah said unto Solomon, Forasmuch as this is done unto thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes, which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee. I will give it unto thy servant. Notwithstanding in thy days I will not do it for the way of thy father's sake, but I will rent it out from the hand of thy son. Howbeit I will not rent away all the kingdom, but I will give one tribe to thy son for the way of thy father's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen.
This is the division of the kingdoms in which we were divided. After this division, not only were we divided in a physical sense, but also in a mental sense, in which the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah, the kingdom of Israel is also called Ephraim. The kingdom of Ephraim and the kingdom of Judah began to fight against each other. And from there, the kingdom of Israel was taken away from their land and brought to the land of the Assyrians. And they fell because they became so wicked that the Most High could no longer instill them with power to fight against the enemies. It was time for the judgment. And also, later on, Judah fell as well. And Judah stood no more. And we were taken away into the land of our enemies. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 68, verse 49. And Deuteronomy 28, verse 49. Read.
I shall bring a nation against thee from far, from from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth, the nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard the person of the old, nor show favor to the young. And he shall eat the fruit of thy cattle, and the fruit of thy land, until thou shalt be destroyed, which also shall not leave thee either corn, wine, or oil, or the increase of thine kind, or flocks, or thy sheep, until he hath destroyed thee.
And all this because we wanted to be like the nations. Therefore, the Most High said, you want to be like the nations? I'm going to basically wipe out your remembrance of ever being my people. And he said that he would make us like the nations, basically. By taking us and putting us in slavery, he would make us like the nations. Go to Jeremiah 12:4. No, 17:4. Go to 17:4. Verse 4. Read.
And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger, which shall burn forever.
I want you to read that one more time, verse 4.
And thou, even thyself, shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee.
He's saying that he will discontinue. Because we wanted to be like the other nations, we wanted to be Gentiles. He says, for this reason, he is going to take away our heritage completely. And as you can see today, all this and more has happened to us. But just because we're Gentiles now doesn't mean anything as far as our prosperity. Because the nations want to destroy us. Now with the Most High's hand no longer guiding us as a nation, unless you come back to the Most High. Now with him no longer guiding us as a nation, giving us power, the nations can now take us and destroy us as they please. Brother Kalabe just said, we never lose a fight. We've never lost a fight, not because of our physical strength, but because of the Most High and the power he instilled into us when we followed him. Through this king we wanted, and through the want of wanting to be a Gentile nation, we discovered what it is like to be a Gentile nation. Gentile meaning out of covenant. We broke the covenant with the Most High. Therefore, he gave us the curses of Deuteronomy 28. But the Most High didn't. The Most High says that he would bring us back, even though we rejected him as our king, because. And when they were talking, when you see the Ark of the Covenant, when we brought in the Ark of the Covenant into battle with us, it had two cherubims, two golden cherubims, as well it had a mercy seat. What a lot of people miss is it's the mercy seat was where the Most High sat. The Most High sat in the midst of us when we were in battle. And when we were in trouble, the Most High would be sitting on the Ark of the Covenant in which the Levites carried. The cherubim also represent the cherubim that are in heaven, that cover the Most High on his seat, on his throne in the heavens. We had the Most High sitting right there before us when we went into battle. And we said, you know what? We don't want this. We don't want a heavenly king anymore. We want an earthly king. And not only do we want an earthly king, we want a king that is like the nations. We want our king to be just like the nations so that we can be like the nations. So now the Most High has stripped us of all of our understanding of who we were. He took it all away, and now we think, now in churches, they tell us, yeah, you're Gentiles, you're Hamites. That's the reason you're going through all this. And we literally believe that we are Gentiles now. He says, you want to be Gentiles? I'm going to make you Gentiles. Do you know the verse? Excuse me, Brother Doe. Excuse me, Brother Doe.
Yes, brother. Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay, go ahead. Do you know that verse? Do you know that verse, the one that the Most High has given us his certificate of divorce?
Okay. Hold on one second. It's actually spoken of in more than one place.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, hold on one second. I'll grab that precept for you, brother.
When you get it, you can read it.
Okay, it's Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. Verse 8. That's Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. And I'll go ahead and read it. Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 8. Those that are in ancient Hebrew. And it says, and I saw, when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I had put her away, and given her a bill of divorcement. Yet her treacherous sister, Yehuda, Judah, feared not, but went and played the harlot also.
So it says that he has given us a certificate of divorce. Back in ancient times, if you were inside of a marriage, you were bound by a covenant. Therefore, if he says he's giving us a certificate of divorce, the covenant is no more the first covenant. Not the second covenant, but the first covenant. So the Most High says he's going to give us a certificate of divorce. Therefore, the first covenant is no more. And if you are out of covenant, you are a Gentile now. He made us Gentiles, but that's not the end of our story. Our story picks back up in which the Most said that he would forgive us and he would bring us back as a powerful nation. Go to Isaiah 14:1 and 2. Isaiah 14:1 and 2. No, go to Psalms 14:7. Just tell me when you get it. Psalms. There it is. Psalms 14:7. Read it when you get it. All right, then read 14 verse 7.
Oh, that the salvation of Israel will come out of Zion, when the High bringeth back the captivity of his people. Jacob shall rejoice, and Israel shall be glad.
Go to Isaiah 62:1 through 4. Read.
For Zion's sake I will not behold my peace, and for Jerusalem's sake I will not rest, until the righteousness thereof go forth as brightness, and the salvation thereof as a lamp that burneth. And the Gentiles shall see thy righteousness, and all the kings thy glory, and thou shalt be called by a new name, which the mouth of the highest shall name. And thou shalt also be a crown of glory in the hand of the highest, and a royal diadem in the hand of thy God. Thou shalt no more be termed forsaken, neither shall thy land any more be termed desolate. But thou shalt be called Hephzibah, and by the land Beulah, for a high delighteth in thee, and thy land shall be married.
He says that he would bring us back as a people. He would no longer throw us off, but he would bring us back as a people. He said he would no longer allow us to break his covenant, because all those who want to come in, he's going to allow to come in of Israel, and they will reign with him in righteousness. Go to Isaiah 10 through 22. The Most High says he's going to bring forth a righteous remnant. Read chapter 10, verse 22. 20 through 22. Read.
And it shall come to pass the day that the remnant of Israel, and such as are escaped of the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon him that smote them, but shall stay upon Ahiah, the Holy One of Israel, in truth, that the remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, unto the mighty Ahiah. For through thy people Israel be as the sand of the sea, yet a remnant of them shall return, and the consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness.
It says that we would no longer stay on the Gentiles, meaning we would no longer trust in those who slew us. We still trust, some of us still trust in this society. And when you look around, after you see the truth, it's kind of hard to understand why these people still trust in this society which has beaten them and done them wrong. That's how you know we're the people. Because any other nation, after they would have been enslaved, would have quickly got up, rebelled, fought wars, and then left to their homeland. This nation is a nation in which is which forgets and forgives very quickly, which is good in a lot of ways. You can forgive them, but doesn't mean you have to trust them. You don't put your trust in them. Therefore, we are once again putting our trust in man, in this government. We are not. A lot of the African Americans are not what they call African Americans. A lot of Judah is not independent from this government. We're still trusting in the government and their subsidies and everything, all their handouts. But the Most High said he would end this relationship between us and the nations, and he would bring us back a righteous remnant. Even though Jacob is a great multitude, he will bring back a righteous remnant from amongst this multitude. And it's our choice. Once the Most High chooses us to get this information, it is our choice and whether we will be a part of this remnant or not. It's your choice to choose whether or not you're going to follow the commands, whether you're going to follow a higher once you come into this truth, so that you can be with the Most High inside and in. Now, it's not our choice whether or not we get the information, because Yeshua said that he chose us. But it is our choice once we get the information whether or not we will be righteous with this information and stay on the straight path. Let's go to Isaiah 40 and 1 through 2. Isaiah 60 and 12. Read.
For the nation and kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish. Yea, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
He's saying when he brings us back, he will make the nations to serve us. And any nation that does not come up to serve us will be utterly destroyed. So this remnant is not only going to inherit a not supernatural, but a spiritual covenant. We're going to be regaining our land and our rulership over this. So we're going to go to Isaiah 14, 1 through 2, to establish this with a second witness. 14, 1 through 2.
Writings of the prophet Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 1 through 2. For Ahiah will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave unto the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them, and shall bring them into their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Ahiah, with servants and handmaidens. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors.
It says that we would, instead of us being spoiled and destroyed by these people who took us captive, instead we would rule. It's saying that once again the Most High would have us under his ruleship, but under the ruleship of his king, a righteous king that can do no wrong. Jeremiah 23, 3 through 6 says that he would once again raise up a king. He would once again raise up a king that would be righteous. And this will be the last precept. No. It will not be the last precept. But read Jeremiah 23, 1 through Jeremiah 23, 1 through 2. This is the king in which the Most High will set up. 23, 1 through 2. Read.
Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pastures, saith Ahiah. Therefore, thus saith Ahiah, the power of Israel, against the pastors that feed my people. Ye have scattered my flock, and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, saith Ahiah.
Keep reading.
And I will gather the remnant of my flock out of all countries whither I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, saith Ahiah.
Keep reading.
Behold, the days come, saith Ahiah, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and the king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days Judah shall be saved, and Israel shall be made to dwell safely. And this is his name, whereby he shall be called.
Read. Keep reading.
Ahiah, our righteousness.
The master, our righteousness.
Sorry, the master, our righteousness. Excuse me.
The master, Lord translates in the master as well. But this king is Yeshua, in which will rule over us. This king will reign over us in the end of days, and he shall be a righteous king, unlike any earthly king that has ever reigned, and his reign shall be forever. This is the king in which we want. If we are truly spiritual people, we must open up our spiritual eyes and understand that the Most High is in charge. And we must no longer cling on to the fleshliness of this world. We must no longer conform to this world. That is the reason we fell in the first place. We must now raise ourselves back up in the understanding that the Most High is our leader, and whatever the Most High says goes. There will be a time when we will be brought out of this daughter of Babylon named America. And he is going to take us into a time where we will be in the wilderness once again for 3.5 years. And we're going to have a discussion on that as well, about the wilderness and the coming out of Babylon. But the Most High said that he will redeem us. But the only thing that we have to do is acknowledge him and acknowledge his king and follow his laws and statutes. It sounds pretty easy. I mean, he's not asking us to do hard labor, anything like that. He's just saying, acknowledge my son, your king, and no longer cling unto these fleshly kings. This is what we must understand. Because we're always looking, it seems like we're always looking for a fleshly leader. Martin Luther King, yes, what he did might seem, nice and everything, but Martin Luther King later on signed agreements with the government, the American government, in which my finger, now we get to join with the Babylonians and we get to be assimilated into their culture. That's all he did for us. He got us so that we no longer be separate from the wickedness of those who ruled over us, who killed us, and now we can be joined to them and learn of their ways and of their culture and forget ours even more. Then it's always that way. Farrakhan is, I mean, we don't even have to go into Farrakhan. They're just playing on the emotions of this people. They keep on bringing up your sufferings as if they're going to do something to change what's going on inside of this great mouse, this great wheel, this ball which just keeps on going round and round in the same path. They bring up the suffering. Everybody, yeah, and they get angry, and then they do the 1 million man march to Washington, D.C., which, by the way, you can't do that unless you're authorized. So they're acting like they're doing something that's so great, but the government is authorizing them to do it in the first place. We need to stop trying to become free or to become a nation following these laws of the society in which we have been enslaved to. We need to stop worrying about, we need to stop always trying to get our freedom through the system in which enslaved us, because it always let us down. So that's all we got to do. We got to acknowledge our King Ahia, and the king under him which reigns is Yeshua. That's all we got to do, and follow his commandments. And then we will once again reign as a people. This is the reason we fell in the first place, because we wanted to be like the other nations. Well, now the Most High is calling us out, and he's saying, raise Israel and acknowledge me, your Elohim, your Elohim or God. Acknowledge me, and I will raise you up again, and you shall be once again in the spot that you were before your great destruction, before the curses came upon you. So this concludes our lesson. If there are any questions at this time that you would like to ask, you can ask. And if I miss any questions, you can email me. We just got a new email. You can email me at cornerstoneyouth@mail.com. Cornerstone spelled CornerStone, Cornerstone Youth, YOUTH @mail.com. Are there any questions?
No, brother, just a comment. We appreciate the lesson. Thank you once again for the call.
Thank you. You're very welcome. I thank the Most High that he has chosen me and my brother to deliver this word that we see tonight, that we have tonight. Are there any more questions before we pray out?
I have a question. Okay, I'm Sister Hannah, and you are saying that we turned away from our righteous King, who is the Most High?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
We wanted a king, and he gave us King Saul?
He gave us King Saul, in which was a first glimpse of what the kingdom, what this kingship, a dynasty ruled by fleshly man would be like. Later on, he gave us a righteous King David. But the first king was Saul, in which did not follow the commandments completely.
And then he gave us his son?
His son, Solomon. And Solomon ruled with wisdom for a short period, but later on, he went and married multiple Gentile women that did not follow our God. Instead of marrying what we have inside of our nation, it's because there's a lot of women inside of our nation that he could have married, but instead he wanted to marry those women that were outside of a nation that worship other gods. And the Most High told us, do not do so.
But because he loved us so much, he gave us his only begotten son?
Yes, ma'am.
So that we are saved through his son?
We are saved through his son. That's the thing about this. The reason why he had to give his son is because at the Mount we signed. Uh-oh, what happened? Is everyone still there?
Yes, I can hear you, bro.
The host has joined the conference.
In the beginning, the Most High gave us a blood covenant with him, and he was our king. Later on, when he gave us his certificate of divorce, in Hebrew law, if you give a woman a certificate of divorce, then you can no longer come back unto the woman. So, and neither can your sons. I mean, it's unlawful for your sons. So it says, if your king, if your husband dies and you're a widow, you are allowed to go and marry another man if he dies. Through his death, we got a blood covenant, and through his death, we got a king. We got a king in which died for us, and we can be married unto him as a nation to our husband, the King of Israel, which is somewhat confusing.
Sorry. So we are the bride now?
Yes, ma'am. Israel is the bride.
All right.
Israel is the bride in which the Most High, it also calls us his battle axe, but Israel is the bride. But he says only a remnant would come out, a righteous remnant, those who would follow his laws completely and would accept his son.
And that's how we'll receive our righteous king back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
This is the reason why I called, because we rejected our king in the first place. So through that, we rejected our king. After that, the king in which we were given had us break the covenant with our spiritual king, our heavenly king, our Elohim. Later on, he needed to make a new covenant with us, and in the process, he also gave us a king in which would lead us in righteousness.
Okay.
Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm listening. It seems sad because, when Yeshua was in Israel, our when he walked his, 30 years? Was he 30?
Yes, ma'am. I think
we
so.
weren't so accepting. So we actually did him wrong. Not us, but our ancestors.
Yes, ma'am. Can you re-say that one more time? I couldn't hear you. That kind of cut out a little bit.
Oh, I was just saying that it's sad because, when Rashaya was here for the people, we rejected him. I wasn't saying me personally, but, our ancestors, the 12 tribes.
Well, that's something in itself that we rejected him, because we have to remember that he came down as a man. His own is not only speaking of us as a nation, but it's talking about his own creation rejected him as a king. Because you got to remember, the disciples was of our nation, and they didn't reject him. The 3,000 that were baptized from Israel didn't reject him. The diaspora in which the Gentiles were gathering in places like Rome and Ephesus and the Philippians, they didn't reject him of our nation. So the ones that did reject him, they did not accept him as a king. Therefore, they did not get to receive their righteous king. But the ones that did, and the ones that followed the disciples, they were the ones that accepted the king, and therefore would receive the kingdom. Now, when it says that that they rejected their king, it didn't say that because you rejected your king that Israel is done away with. I got.
Excuse me, brother.
Yes, sir.
If I could, I'd like to maybe just make a statement in relation to what you were mentioning about how the children of Israel always wanted a king, and how the sister's questions was asking about the different kings, and the Most High said, well, okay, like you read earlier, Brother Calabria read earlier, how that they wanted to be like the other nations, so he did give them a king. And you also read, I think, Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4, how the nations would discontinue from their heritage.
Yes, sir.
I wanted to relate that also this generation that don't know who they are, as in relation to what you said, when they discontinue from their heritage, they had no idea and do not know who they are, and the reason they have been discontinued from their heritage is because of their father's disobedience. And I wanted to read one precept, Jeremiah 23 and 33. Jeremiah 23 and 33 tells it, so the Most High's people don't know at all, so the only way they will know is this way. He says, and when this people, Jeremiah chapter 23 verse 33 says, and when this people or the prophet or a priest shall ask thee, saying, what is the burden of Adoniah or the master? Thou shalt then say unto them, what burden? And he says, I will even forsake you, saith the master. Okay. Now, the Most High appears to be forsaking the children of the Most High, and then again they ask the question in Jeremiah chapter 16 verse 10. He says, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt show this people all these words, and they shall say unto thee, wherefore did the master pronounce all this great evil against us? Or what is our iniquity? Or what is our sin that we have committed against the Most High? Jeremiah chapter 16 verse 11 says, then thou shalt say to them, because your fathers have forsaken me, saith the master, and have walked after other Alaim or gods, and have served them and have worshipped them, and have forsaken me, and have not kept my law.
Yes.
I want to add that, brother, about, the Most High's people have amnesia. They want to know exactly who in the world forsaken the Most High, how did they? And like you read in relation about 30 minutes earlier, it was because they had forsaken him, And the curses of Deuteronomy 28 are not upon those generations, and they'll only be able to find their way back if they go back and keep the law of Moses, which is the law of the Most High. But that's all I had, brother.
Also, the Most High said that He would give us a new covenant for all those that would want righteousness. Jeremiah 31 and 31 through 33. I'll read that. Behold, the day comes, saith the Higher, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break. Although I was an husband unto them, saith the Higher, but this shall be a covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, saith the Higher. I will put my law in their inward parts, and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. They were basically, the king led them down this road to breaking the covenant, because he's an earthly king, and all mankind has sinned and will sin when they come into this world. So when we rejected our king, when you reject a king, you're also rejecting his rules, his laws. Therefore, we not only rejected the Most High, we rejected everything that He had given us at Sinai. And the king in which we got led us down a path in which we broke the commandments and broke the covenant. But the Most High said that He would give us a new covenant that is not like the covenant He gave to our fathers. But He will give us a covenant in which no more will we have to be taught the law, or no more will we have to go and teach others the law. He will put the law in our hearts through the Holy Spirit, in which He gave to the apostles who did not reject Him. So does that answer your question?
Yes, brother. One more thing. So
yes.
People that want the righteousness, that's abiding by the law, statutes, and commandments.
Say that again.
So the people that want the righteousness, that these are the people that are abiding by the law, statutes, and commandments?
Yes, ma'am. Well, that's a difficult question, because the Most High said that whoever would want righteousness, He said that there would be some that would come to Him and say, Lord, Lord, we taught in your name, we preached in your name. But He said unto them, go away from me, you workers of iniquity, or lawlessness, for I know you not. He's saying, yeah, it's great that you're searching for righteousness, but as the Christians state in some of their churches, they say that the law is done away with. But the Most High said, if you want righteousness but do not follow my law, He says He's not going to recognize you when you come up there. If you get the understanding that you must follow the law, and you said you refuse this knowledge and say, hey, we're under grace, but you have the knowledge that you're supposed to follow it, then when you get up to the judgment seat, He's going to say, go away from me, I know you not, because you worked iniquity. Even though they're looking for righteousness, they still didn't follow His law.
That's crazy, because I did question my pastor, and he laughed at me. He actually said, that's a good one. I should rest on, well, because I asked him about Sabbath and why we were keeping it holy, or why we were for the rest day, and he laughed at me and said, that's funny. We should get rest, meaning that he works on Saturday and come to church on Sunday. And then he gave me the scripture somewhere in Matthew about the law being done away with.
Hey, brother. Hey, brother. Excuse me. I just wanted to also mention that she can go to Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 and 18. And you can read that to whoever is asking. Matthew chapter 5, verse 17 and 18, which directly refutes the fact that, there is no, there's indeed nothing in the scripture that says that the law is abolished or done away with.
Right.
Actually, from Matthew 5, 17 and 18, you can also go to Romans chapter 3, verse 31. In that scripture, Paul says that, do we make void the Torah, the law, through faith? He says, Most High forbids, but we establish the law. Okay, we established the law. So you can take a look at those precepts, and that directly refute a lot of the Christian theology and indoctrination of not wanting to go back and read the scripture to understand that the law is the Torah, the law is a guide map. And you also mentioned about the 7th day. Genesis chapter 2, verse 3 speaks about that. That's the command given from the beginning. Genesis chapter 2, verse 3. Starting at the 2nd chapter, it tells you that the 7th day was the day that was given unto man to rest, and that Sunday is the supposed Sunday. And tell him to research on those words that he's mentioning, because the Most High only gave the number of the days. He did not speak about what day. I know there's all types of words like bull and all of these different days. He only numbered the days. So, but you can go take a look at that, sister, and get him to take a look at those precepts.
Brother Doe, you said Romans chapter 31, the whole chapter,
chapter
or there
3? No, chapter 3, verse 31.
Oh, okay.
Yes, take a look at that. Okay, sister.
Excuse me, Brother Doe.
Go ahead, brother.
Do you also know the scripture which says when the rich man asked Yeshua how he must enter eternal life?
Okay. The young rich ruler?
Yes, sir. It's in Luke, is it not?
Yeah, it's you can actually find it in.
If we can't find it today, we always have the next call. Oh, okay. I found it.
Is someone? Okay.
Okay, go to Luke 18 and 18.
Yeah, I think someone else has a question.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. This is the last question we can take.